Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today we've got a Zenyatta in Platinum 4, and I believe he plays a bit of Ana as well. Their intro is as follows. I really just want to get better, and on this game I just didn't know what I was doing wrong. With our Kiriko, who had the GM title, said I threw be as harsh or critical as needed. I just can't really know myself what I'm messing up on. Thanks. Okay, so yeah, okay, Zenyatta, Ana, Junkerton. Okay, so all right, to start, so this is our Zenyatta right here. So to start, playing Zen next to Kiriko isn't, I'm not saying it can't work, but it's difficult, especially when you're on defense. I feel like it's a little bit more of an offensive support team comp than it would be a defensive one. With that being said, the supports I would recommend playing instead of Zen here would be BAP, Ana, or Mercy. One of those three. If you're really good at a different support, I'm not saying you can't make it work, and I'm not necessarily even suggesting Zen can't work here, but it puts the Kiriko into a main healer spot. And it might not be the best healing for your DPS either, because if you can Mercy pocket the Hanzo and the Hanzo's popping off, that might enable the Hanzo to do more. Whereas if you're playing Baptiste, you're main healing the Sigma, the Kiriko might be able to DPS a little bit more and then focus their healing more on the DPS side of things. And it just kind of changes the dynamic of how your team plays. The dynamic of how the team plays here with Zen and Kiriko should be the healing orb going on the Genji, you pinging Discord orbs on whoever it lands on, and then hoping that the Genji or the Hanzo can land shots on whoever you're Discord orbing, and then the Kiriko healing the Sigma and you, and then you keeping the DPS aggressive as best as you can on Zen. Now, is that how this plays out? I don't know. We're about to find out. I haven't watched this VOD at all. We're going to be watching this fresh together. So let's see what we get here. So Plat 4, Zen, and Ana. Let's take a look.
We are all pilgrims on this mission.
So, in a case like this, where there's a Widow and they're popping off, there's nothing essentially to heal in terms of the Widow on your DPS. You can't heal a headshot, right? Mercy, however, can potentially res said headshot. So that might be something to keep in mind. The other thing is if you can land a charged right click on them. But because they're playing Winston, you're going to be fighting a dive quite a bit. Good kill on the Ana. Good aim. So your Genji's already given up on Genji to go Reaper. That's a mixed bag. So, all right, number one, if you're going to counter Winston, Reaper isn't the worst pick in the world, but he's also not the best pick in the world for two reasons. And they're both very specific to here, but they fall into a much broader sense of what I'm about to say, but it fits here perfectly. Okay, so number one, there is a Widow who's shown that she can headshot a Genji, which means she's probably got fairly decent aim. If you go Reaper, you've got a giant head hitbox, and you're a relatively short range character. That does absolutely nothing for the Widow. So that's problem number one. Problem number 2 is that Reaper is not the hard counter to Winston that he used to be. A better counter to Winston as a DPS is Bastion. Think about it this way. When the Winston dives in and drops his bubble, you go into turret mode, you blast the shield down, the shield melts in a couple seconds, and then you're just blaring away on a Winston. The Winston can't do anything to armor, and you either blow him out of the sky or you send him jumping backwards and probably going to swap. That's number 1. Number 2, when you're in tank mode, there's nothing to be headshotted by, so the Widow can't headshot you. And then you can lay down a bunch of suppressing fire on the Widow and either make her sit back so that your team can start taking space, or maybe you even kill her, or, you know, the suppressing fire can just send her back and buy your team time to do something with it. So that's why I'm not a big fan of the Reaper pick here. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's not you doing it, so we're not, you know, we can only VOD review what you're doing. But I just want to throw that out there for anybody that plays DPS and is what happens to be watching this. So as far as you go, it's down to pretty much you, Hanzo, and Kiriko for killing the Widow at this point. Kiriko's pretty good at killing Widows if your Kiriko can aim. Otherwise, try to pocket the Hanzo, try to get Discord orbs on the Widow when you can. Try to do it safely. And if you do know where the Widow is, try to get a charged up right click sent in her direction, and maybe you'll get a pick on her as well. I feel like your sensitivity on your mouse is way too high. Careful where you retreat to, because you're kind of getting into no man's land here. Yeah, so, okay, you heard the Widow ulting. That means hide. Where did she ult at? Okay, so right here. She's ulting right here. She knows where you are as of right now. So you revealing yourself over here is a no-go. Now, she's probably going to be coming to you anyway, but you've got cover and places to go to over here. However, the whole team is going to probably start diving you, but you have trance, so you could pop trance when they start getting a little closer, keep your team alive, and then as the rest of your team comes back from spawn, this might be a fight that you guys could actually pick and maybe withhold, but instead, you reveal yourself. The Widow's already looking. Like, let's look from her perspective once. See, she knows.
No one can hide from my sight.
She knows you're coming, and then boom, you're dead.
To rust.
Same thing with the Reaper. You got these guys just, and even the Hanzo. Yeah, that's really just poor play from everybody there. You guys have to know when there's Widow ultimates going on here. Nice headshots. When you land 2 headshots in a row on a discorded Winston, that allows you to be a little bit more aggressive. You could have pushed that Winston a little bit more. Get your healing orb on something here. Your healing orb's not on anybody right now. Same with your Discord orb. Make sure that stays on somebody. The Widow's looking down main. It was for a second. I don't know where she went. So I'm a little curious what you're going to use your ultimate on. Yeah, so you're kind of in no man's land where you're at right there. Nobody's going to really be able to help you where you were at. What I would have recommended is probably playing more along the lines of the bridge over here, or playing back over here or here. Because if you play back there, you're going to be safer, you're going to be less diveable, and your team's going to be able to peel for you more, as opposed to playing where you were at. Now, you had decent line of sight to being able to do stuff until they dove you. And then because Zen is a glass cannon, once you've got somebody in your face, you're probably going to die unless they're already low or something, or your aim is just impeccable. But see, like right there, you're revealing yourself to a Widowmaker and you're asking to get killed. Now, that was a good charged right click, though. So, the only thing I would have added to what you just did is you got to get that healing orb out on somebody. Zen doesn't do much healing as it is, and you're doing no healing when your healing orb's not on anybody. But good kill on the Ana there. Nice kill on the Widow. So your aim on Zen is pretty good. I would start backing up. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. If I were you, I would go to about... I would go like around here, or I would play back about right here. I would get back, like way back. The only thing good that comes from playing where you're at is you still have your ultimate. Where is my mouse? Because you still have your ultimate, playing a little forward is okay, but I'm still curious what you're going to use it on, and I'm also curious why you haven't used it yet. But I'm not totally sure what the plan is here for that. I mean, I know what I would use it on, but I'm curious what you're going to use it on first. And then I'll talk about what I use it on, depending on what you use it on. If you use it what I'm going to use it on, then I'll just tell you when you do it. Yeah, you're playing way too far forward. I think you know that, though. But there was no reason for you to be the one to pressure that Brigitte. Too aggressive. Frankly, yeah, it just, well, I'll leave it at that. It was just way too aggressive. Okay, so now you're walking out of spawn by yourself, and you were completely clueless that the Widow was, like, staring you down. Luckily, she missed, because if you die there, you staggered yourself tremendously. So you got to be a little bit more focused on what's in front of you, rather than just kind of blindly walking out of spawn, because you know that the cart's getting pretty close to your spawn at this point. So they're going to start poking at your spawn door when you guys are coming out of it. Now you still have not ulted yet.
To share the path with another. Death falls for no one.
I mean, at this point, you should be getting you should be on your second trance at this point. If you're very aggressive with your trances, maybe even a third. You're still on your first. So again, I'm very curious at what the plan here is for what you're going to do with your trance. So originally, when we were talking about your trance, I would have used it for the Ramatra ult, but he swapped to Orisa. But using it for Orisa ult could be good. Yeah, so we waited on trance all this time, and then we had to burn it because you were out of position and the Widow revealed it. Good kill. Good kill on the Widow. But yeah, let's talk about that trance for a moment. So, okay, when you're playing Zen, Zenyatta is a defensive ultimate hero, right? So the Lucio, the Zen, and the Kiriko, those are like the 3 key defensive support heroes in the game as of right now. Brig would technically fall into that category if she were a better hero, but she's pretty weak right now. So I'm not going to add her into that category. We're going to leave it at those 3 heroes. So when you're playing those 3 heroes, 2 are ultimates, 1 is an ability. Kiriko's is the ability. So when you're playing Lucio and Zen, what are you using your defensive ult for? So for example, if you're Lucio and there's a Sigma, you might save your beat drop for when the Sigma ults, and then you beat drop when you're in the air. So for trance, what are you looking to trance? So like they had a Ramatra at one point, that would have been something to trance. They have an Orisa, that could be something to trance. But okay, where are we at right? We're at 806. So we'll skip back to this at one point. So in fact, I'll even write it down just so I don't forget. 806. Okay, so when you first get your trance,
The enemy.
all right. So what would you necessarily be looking to trance here? There's really nothing, right? There's nothing to save here. I mean, the only thing would be Nano. Like you trance when Nano happens, and you know, likely going to the Winston to make sure that the Nano doesn't become a thing. But when they do that, okay, so Nano happened. Did it go to the Winston or who did it go to?
Down.
Oh yeah, it did go to the Winston. So it's kind of a dumb Nano to go to the Winston, but they did it, right? So what are you doing when this is happening? You're just sitting here, not doing much of anything. And then you eventually get dove by the Junkrat, and then you just die. This would have been a great time to have tranced and kept your team fighting. And then when you guys are fighting over, so this is where you kill the Ana, then you kill the Widow. So now at this point, what is there to trance? Obviously, he just swaps to Ramatra, so his ultimate is low. He doesn't have the ult. Is it really the play to hold your trance for when he builds up his ultimate? It's debatable, but I say no. You could make a case to just say hold it because Ramatra's ult can clear the point and somebody's going to need it, but like you've held it for so long. So like when you get stuck, like even using it, not quite here, but here, there's a Nano right here. Trance the Nano. Now, I don't know why they're trancing Brig. Brig, like, these nanos are kind of odd to me. Like, I wouldn't be nanoing Winston when he's ulting, and I don't know that I'd be nanoing Brig in a situation like this where you guys aren't really playing dive. But at the same token, you got to use your ultimate. Like, it's just been sitting and sitting and sitting, and then what we end up getting is you out of position and then you trying to use it to save yourself. And that ain't it either. And ultimately, you played the whole round, never having a great opportunity to trance, number one. And then number two, the one time you do finally trance, the team got really no value out of it. So when you find yourself in a situation where you don't have an obvious trance timing to it, you either got to do one of two things. One, be aggressive with them and just pop them as you're getting them and just spit them out to start winning team fights and allowing your team to be aggressive. That would be number one. Or number two, swapping to a hero that gives your team a better ultimate and a better chance at winning team fights.
I will not leave.
Okay, so now we're on Ana. So for Ana, Nano and Genji, I think is the obvious. Having Nano confirm on, don't know if you have it on or not, but if you don't, you should have that on. And then in a case like this, now the Kiriko should be the off healer, healing and focusing on the DPS, and then you healing the tank primarily in the DPS second. Use your nades to anti.
Everyone relax. Pick up your feet, you drongos.
We cut the pain.
So I would play a little bit further back here. Just try to keep everybody in your scope.
Getting drowsy. I
Good
slept the
sleep.
target.
Ping it, ping it, ping it, ping it. Okay, good.
I keep you up.
Yeah, just try to get people's attention when you get a sleep target like that. Usually pinging it, maybe yelling on the microphone. You know, like Junkrat slept by me, Biano, whatever. Good sleep. Yeah, don't wake that one up because he's nanoed.
You're welcome.
I'm on the payload. Anyone
So I'd be careful about peeking Widow. It looked like you were trying to maybe get into a little bit of a sniper duel there. I'd have been careful with that one. Just let your team deal with it for now. Yeah, now here you might take a pot shot or two, but generally speaking, just let them push the cart. I would look at maybe Nano and Junker Queen here.
In tip MN.
Good anti.
Let's take him to the white.
Okay, don't do it now because she's in. Okay, now you might do it. Yeah, see, because you got your ultimate so fast, spitting that out to that Junker Queen could have definitely been beneficial. I honestly think that probably would have won that team fight. Not saying you might still do it, but. So, wait a minute. Your Genji just ulted and you didn't nano boost him. What are we saving nano for? You had two strong opportunities there to nano and you didn't use it at all. I'll admit I didn't quite notice the Genji ulting at first. I caught it like I think I caught it like maybe like a quarter of the way in that he was ulting, but yeah, that's kind of inexcusable there to have not used your nano.
Not finished.
I personally, if it were me, I'd have used it on the Junker Queen. I think the Junker Queen had more than ample opportunity to win that fight on her own with the nano after she ulted and. Oh god, no. That was a no, you can't do it when she's low and anti'd. Now you're in close quarters with a Junkrat. So bad positioning, bad nano. You saved it and shouldn't have used it when you used it. So this team never got a good ultimate out of you yet.
I won't let you fall.
Somebody needs healing next to you, the Widow.
Keep attacking until the last second. I have the payload. Everyone relax.
You're fine.
Okay, good. Push the cart.
Thank you.
Alright. We're just gonna speed this up to the next fight.
Payload secured. Let's move.
Enemy spotted.
Snipers, be careful.
I like the positioning here for the most part. That Widow would contest you on high ground. And your team's struggling to kill her. Problem is that Junkrat's been a problem too, and he just rained hell down on you.
I won't give in.
I would maybe give high ground a shot, just because now low ground has shown that, well, one, the Widow's dead, but two, because the Junkrat's gonna rain down on you and he's shown that he's looking for you. Maybe just give high ground a shot. I know Widow might give you trouble up there too, but it's at this point it's just worth the shot because you tried low ground and it didn't work. So it's about just trying different things and seeing if they'll actually punish you for it.
Get it moving.
No one can hide from my sight.
My payload's moving.
You're going to.
Pile on. G'day.
60 seconds.
Your aim's getting a little off. I don't know if you're just getting frazzled or frustrated or...
Really feeling the heat.
Nano boost.
But I'm noticing your aim's starting to kind of dip off a bit.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Let's take him to the waist.
Taking damage. You're powered up. Get in there.
Who wants their guts handed now?
Truly feel alive.
Yeah, I don't know that you guys needed that nano to win that fight, honestly.
I still have some fight in me.
It's a better nano than the first one, but I'm honestly not totally sure you needed to do that.
Keep fighting.
You guys, because when you did that,
Let's take him to the waist.
yeah. So when you did it, you guys do already have the second point. So at this point, anything that they're contesting in your spawn. So even if you guys lose this fight, you don't really lose any ground or anything. So I saved that nano for your guys' next team fight when you start pushing it out over in that area.
I still have some fight in me. I have you. Keep fighting.
My payload's moving. Pile on.
Stand up straight. I want
Heal you, tank. I would stay back a bit. What I would suggest doing is doing one of two things. Either playing right around here, playing up around here, maybe more like on the edge here. Or if you're comfortable with it, maybe playing back in this area. and then just kind of either shooting out the window or through the doorway. This one's a little bit more on the aggressive side, and you'll have to, be careful about the Widow and whatnot. It could be done though. Oh, what is going on there? But the more safer route would probably be to be like right here, because even if you do go up here, the Widow is probably going to be able to just come around and find you pretty easily. So I would say this is probably spot number 1 to be, and then spot number 2, and then spot number 3 in terms of lower being safer, higher being dangerous. Just throwing that out there, because you're playing kind of in the middle of it all, like what a Lucio, Moira, Kiriko would kind of be at. FAP to some extent too.
60 seconds.
So now as the cart's rounding the curb, now I'd be looking at playing like in here, over here, over here, kind of just depending on where your team is playing. And what gives you a safe vantage point of looking. So right now, like basically where you're at is good. But as it starts rounding the corner, then you might start moving into over here or over here, depending on what's, still alive and whatnot. If the Widow dies, you can be more aggressive and play over here. If the Widow's alive, you might want to kind of play around cover and be more in this doorway or something. Good sleep.
Feel better?
I'm on the payload. Get over here.
So,
The payload is approaching.
yeah, don't move into this. At this point, you guys got to get out. But the problem here is that this Ramatra is going to be able to zone both of your healers out with a good, well-placed shield. So you guys got to be very cautious on if your tank moves in. Make sure that they're aware that the healing is going to stop. And what are you doing here? Why are you going in? What is this?
If we don't get a move on.
Okay. I thought this would have been an obvious thing, but obviously not. So as you're retreating, get out to spawn. Run to spawn. Just keep going. So really actually, let's even rewind this a bit further here. Let's get a good vantage point. Right here should be fine. So let's watch it from here. So your tank just died. Your Kiriko's gonna heal you. Now the Kiriko's frontlining. You heal the Kiriko. And you guys just continuously heal each other until you go back to spawn. Or she'll take high ground and then heal you from high ground while you go back to spawn, and then she'll teleport to you. Or she gets sniped. But ideally what I would have liked to have seen is you guys just take turns healing each other and then you just retreat back to spawn. And unfortunately neither happened, and you both just fed and staggered yourselves tremendously. That was a huge stagger for both of you.
They've finally got up there for
10 seconds.
Wait, what were you at for ult charge? You were at 78. Yeah, you stay Anna here. There's no need to dive bomb to the point as Lucio yet, and you're very close to an ultimate. That nano would have came in handy for this last fight, and you likely would have had it. As long as you landed a few healing shots, maybe a DPS shot in there, you basically have your ultimate. Probably like, what, 4 shots probably gets you your ult? Like 4 healing shots? And then somebody gets nano, and then you win the fight, and then you go into overtime with it. Now you've just reset your ult meter, and you're on Lucio, giving your team weak heals. And then on top of that, you've just swapped the healing role. So now the Kiriko's got to be the main healer. And maybe the Kiriko doesn't pick up on that, or maybe they struggle with it. Maybe it just ends up not being enough heals out of the whole of the team comp. It's a lot to ask for here when you could have just stayed Ana and then popped out a Nano, potentially a Nano. It's not a guarantee you would have had it, but I think you could have gotten one. Yeah, and then you guys just die. So I will say one thing: the fact that you were Lucio here, you need to be wall riding. You're on the ground. Like if you're wall riding up here and kind of staying in this vicinity, you're able to contest the point while still healing your tank and then throwing out some damage shots in between. I'm not saying it would have won you the fight, but you would have been able to at least have played this a little bit better and maybe lasted a little longer. But frankly, I think staying Ana was the play there because you had time to return to the fight as Ana. You would have went Lucio like after the Ana Nano goes into this fight and then you die, then you go Lucio to get back quicker. But it's too little too late now. At least I think it is. Is it? Is it? Oh, we're back. But he just died again. So yeah, okay, yeah, too little too late basically. So alright, number 1 is your ults. Number 2 is your positioning. You know, knowing when Widow's ulting, that kind of a thing. Ulting, you're just not getting good value off of them. You nanoed an anti-low target hero. Then you nanoed basically in your spawn, basically. You're holding on to trance for pretty much the entire round and then ultimately used it to save yourself from poor positioning, which goes to point number 2. So 3, I would say, would be hero choice. I don't think Zen was the greatest pick, mainly because you just didn't have, like, your biggest asset is your trance, and you just didn't get any value out of it, and there wasn't really much to trance in that game. And then when you were Ana, Ana was a good pick, I feel like, but you didn't give your team a lot of value off of it. Like no nano on that first fight, when you guys were about to take the first point, for example. I don't know what was going through your mind there, but that there were 2 obvious nano targets there that needed to be done. So I think if you focus on like these 3 points in particular, that will kind of elevate your game to your next level. I think if you watch some extra VOD reviews or some streamers that play a lot of Zen and Ana, that will help you if you're really trying to get better at those 2 heroes in particular. But the vibe that I got from your intro is that you're just trying to learn what you did wrong in this particular game. So I'm not totally sure if you're trying to get better at these 2 heroes specifically, or if you just want to know what you did wrong. But if you do want to get better at Zen and Ana in particular, you could watch some of my other VOD reviews that I've done for other Anas and Zenyatas, just to see how other people are playing it and what I said to them. Otherwise, maybe trying to find some streamers on Twitch that are playing a lot of Ana and Zenyatta. I know ML7 plays a lot of Ana. I don't know of any specific streamers that play a lot of Zenyatta, and I don't really like name-dropping streamers anyway. ML7, I feel like, is a low-hanging fruit, though, because he's like one of the top streamers on Twitch, and he's probably the top support streamer on Twitch, so I don't mind name-dropping him so much. But after that, I'd rather you guys just find your own streamers to watch at that point and see who you come up with. But with that being said, I hope what I gave you was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.